see. Okay. Sharing it. Great. We are alive.
So it's happening. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Cool. I'm gonna come back on. Yes, that's perfect. So nice. I'm so happy. Okay,
Yeah.
it works. So
Wonderful.
yeah, so thank you so much for inviting me for this amazing live that is about Kundalini Awakening today. So I would love, first of all, that maybe we introduce ourselves to see like what we are doing and who we are and why we're interested about that. So I would love to ask you that question. If you can
Of
introduce
course.
yourself, your name, and what is your service to this world, and why Kundalini Awakening is so important for you.
Mhm. So thank you for hosting this. So my name is Helena, and what I do is I teach Kundalini yoga. So therefore, I find it a great honor also to assist people in awakening the power of their soul and actually start to work with this in a very conscious way so that they can liberate themselves from worldly suffering and to just feel ecstatic, blissful energies and increase their health, increase their awareness so that they can also experience unity consciousness and together when we are all awake, when we are all conscious and with love in our heart, we can create a beautiful, harmonious world. So
Mm,
that's my greatest desire. Power to the people.
that's true. It's the most beautiful one. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, and how? Yeah, I
For
can introduce.
you, let's introduce you, Leo.
That's true. Okay, so my name is Leo Martinez. I am currently living in Costa Rica. I am a transformational coach, shamanic healer, and basically, right now, I help women to believe in their power so that they can embody their divine masculine and feminine and find balance into themselves,
Mm.
so that they can feel complete from within without being afraid to shine anymore. So I am dedicating right now this service to women through a transformational program that I'm proposing that is called Trust in Men. It's on one-on-one or also on group. And it's really a blessing. Since I opened that channel, I have so many teachings coming to me, and it's like really an honor to serve. And why I'm doing that? Simply because I do believe that right now we need powerful women that are standing into their power. The age of the suppression of the feminine is over, and it's important for the male to empower the feminine energy through the embodiment of every female on this planet to rise. And it goes also to empower my own feminine side, which is allowing myself to express my emotions, to feel, and to really dance with the Shakti that I have within also. So I'm really doing that, dedicating my life to love, trust, and awakening. And it's a beautiful journey. And
Yeah, wow. I really love that. It's really beautiful because I noticed there are many women working with women and men working with men, but not a lot of men working with women to actually um yeah, practice this feminine energy more. So that's really unique and beautiful to do that. Mm.
yeah, it's really important because like when women are coming to engage into something with me, they are already making a big step into trust, and the part of the healing is already happening there. And then for sure we go deeper. But yeah, it's important to weave our way together and to trust each other in order to find this trust inside also, because this inner couple, this inner polarity, we carry that inside anyway. So we are just playing this game with bodies all around. But
It's true.
And
It
yeah,
is
as I was saying, also like part of my core values are love, trust, and awakening. And this is why also when you contacted me to make that live about Kundalini, that awakening, it just rings some bells, and I realize how much it has been part of my life. Also, those Kundalini awakening, and I realized only recently that it was this that I was experiencing. So I'm really happy to know more about what is your perception about Kundalini awakening and what it is for you. And what is your experience with that also?
okay. So, what I already find interesting, what you mentioned, is like the polarity, the feminine and masculine polarity that we all have within us. It is actually important to have this balanced before we can actually also start working with the power of Kundalini.
Mm.
So, it is because like there's this science of nadis, or subtle energy pathways that flow through along the spine. And so when we try to awaken Kundalini, it actually goes right in the middle, the central Sushumna nadi. But before
Mm.
it can rise up, there has to be like a kind of energy exchange between the plus and the minus, so the positive and the negative polarity, and this corresponds to the Ida and the Pingala, so the feminine and the masculine polarities within us. And so yeah, there are like practices to balance this, but this is very important, and to realize that me as a woman, I have as much masculine energies as you do, and to really liberate actually yourself from the idea like I am a woman. No, I'm just a human, not even a human, I'm just a being and energy. So it already starts there, to disidentify yourself. And that's also what I feel is necessary to understand is, yeah, we don't have to identify to anything. We just have to feel what is real right now. And so for me, Kundalini Awakening is also about this, to to not say, okay, I am a spiritual being, or I'm looking for something beyond that I'm not right now. It's like, no, just forget about everything, and come back into silence, come back into inner peace. And that's actually for me what was the main trigger, is to, when I started my journey towards this inner peace, um, because I also am very sensitive to energy. And as you're saying to me before this live, I also received many impulses from energies around me, and I was very easily influenced. And this was too intense to handle. And I already experienced, the state of Kundalini, which was awakened, because I could feel so deeply, but I couldn't place it. I didn't understand it. And it would
Mm.
often happen to me that I would receive like these electric shocks through my body, especially when I would go asleep at night as a child already. I would like, it's like it's just some weird force trying to shake you. Uh, and it actually felt very ecstatic and blissful. But at a certain point in my life, I was like, okay, this is weird. And I started to suppress this. And then at that point, I started to numb myself as well. I
Mm.
started to become more and more, because I was so sensitive. There was a part of me that didn't want to feel all the sensitivity. And then I started to do things, reach for certain distractions, so that I didn't have to feel this, and so that I could fit in, and be normal. um, But actually this got me further away from my true state of being. And at a certain point I really experienced like a dark period where I was just, wearing all black and using substances to distract your mind, because you kind of want to just escape reality because it's all misery. And I think many people go through this phase, especially when you're growing up as a teenager. You just don't understand how things are, and yeah, people are saying this is the right thing to do and this is the wrong thing to do. It's all much black and white. And anyway, I got to a point where I just went inwards and to sit with everything that I was feeling. And slowly I started to allow myself to feel again and to embrace the sensitivity. But I had a lot of difficulties with standing strong in this. And therefore I could I knew very well what I wanted and what was good for me, what wasn't. But still I was being influenced when I was in a place where people were behaving a certain way. I kind of was like, floating with them. So easily adaptable, but too easy. And then I started to realize, okay, I have to strengthen my roots, my ground, and I have to become strong in being. And this just happened only 3 years ago when I discovered about Kundalini yoga. Yeah, so Kundalini yoga is like the science of awakening Kundalini. So this power, this primal power that is actually the driving force of creation. And to become aware of it, to become conscious of it, and to consciously direct it through your body so that you can activate certain parts of your body, so that you can have healing within, so that you can have a radiant presence, so that you can have many qualities related to energy and evolution centers in the body's chakras. But it was through awakening this Kundalini with certain practices that I could finally anchor in my strength, my power. And this was truly the biggest blessing of my life, because that moment I felt like, wow, this is bringing me so much joy and so much ecstasy, and nobody can bounce me off of this again. I was strong and uninfluenceable. And so this is really where I discovered that, yes, we can manage our energy. We can deal with the sensitivity. And I feel like many people, especially from people who are more aware, more conscious, that we are not humans, we are more like just souls having a human experience. They're also very sensitive, but many people don't know how to work with it. And for me, Kundalini yoga has really been a big blessing to deal and to experience bliss on a daily, instead of waiting for experiences, waiting for situations where you could finally just relax and find this peace. No, you can really activate this right now. It's at the moment, if you're prepared for it. So that's really cool. That's a bit my my background on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have one advice to activate that? If you say like right now, for people who are willing to activate that, is there a simple practice for them to connect with it?
So yeah, there are actually two very important practices that I can share with you. One is actually pranayama. to balance the polarity in your body, to cleanse the nadis, so that you can get rid of stuck energies, impurities, which is you inhale one side, blocking the other nostril, and you chant one time Om, just inhaling, and mentally chant Om. And then you imagine that this energy from this nostril goes down all the way to the bottom of the spine, and it starts spiraling around the spine at the roots, at the muladhara, where the Kundalini is actually dormant, where it is laying there. And then you will start to visualize a golden spiral, the color of the roots of the Kundalini, and it goes upwards to the other side, and you exhale. But there is a counting, so you count one Om in the left, then you hold for 4 counts, 4 times Om. And then you will exhale in 2 counts to the other side. And then you repeat with the other side. So if you inhale left, you hold 4 counts, exhale right. Inhale right, hold, exhale left.
Okay, and when you hold, there is this Om inside and the golden spiral going up. This is the game?
Yeah, so it's one Om you mentalize when it's inhaling, 4 Ohms you hold, and you're spiraling up. And then 2 Ohms you exhale. This is a ratio, 1, 4, 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And so this is one practice. You should start with this. If you want to do any Kundalini practice, this is the first thing you should do. But then, like, a very good practice that you can apply also anytime when you want to feel more steady, more grounded, more connected to your body, is to apply mula Banda. And the mula Banda is actually the root lock. So the Banda is a body lock, and the mula is the root, the sustainer of our body. So what you do is you contract all the pelvic floor muscles, and especially the muscles of the anus and the sex organs. And like in between, there's a perineum. And about 2 fingers inwards and 2 fingers like above the anus, there's like this place where the Kundalini is actually curled down around. So this is the roots, the muladhara. And so you should meditate on this and then contract all the muscles that are around it. And also the belly button, the navel point, contract it inwards. And then if you do this, it's like you're holding up something, holding up the outgoing forces, which we call apana. So we have prana, which is cosmic subtle energy, which flows inwards in our bodies, and it goes outwards again when we release. But we will hold this up with the mula Banda. So the apana goes upwards and it mixes with the prana. And they mix actually at the navel center. So you contract the navel center. And then this is a place where Kundalini can get activated. Because the 2 forces, the prana and the apana, they start mixing where the navel center is. And the navel center is related to the fire element. And the fire element creates heat. And so when these forces mix, heat is produced, and also like a more intense force. So underneath the navel center, we have the Sacral Chakra related to reproductive organs, where creative life force is manifested from, created from. This is related to the water element. So what happens is that the heat of the fire element starts vaporizing the water from the water element. So the water is related to creativity flow, our emotions and everything. It starts to vaporize. So a kind of gas is stimulated from the sacral chakra, which is related to our sexual energy. And in this gas state, it is able to float up. And then it goes up to the heart center. And then at the heart center, we will have to practice on opening our hearts. And you can do this by also kind of contracting the heart muscles. And then bringing in the navel all the way in when you exhale without air. And then you bring it even more up. This is like the second body lock. Yeah, so this is like a very deep science. But if you already start practicing with just the first body lock, you will start to retain the apana, and you will start to connect more with the energy that you are that is flowing through you. So you will start to manage energy better already. And this is the first thing you should work with. And yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I'm wondering where you are teaching that and where are the workshop that you're hosting to help people to work with that. It would be just amazing. And
Yeah.
it's really familiar to me what you said, because I've been working on this kind of microcosmic orbit breathing, which is how to channel the energy, sexual energy through the body. And it goes at the beginning to contract this perineum zone in order to hold this energy and to pump it up also. So it goes really into what you just shared about this kind of contracting the mula bandha, because it's really beginning by that. And I'm kind of familiar with this, definitely, but I was not aware of what was after into the, I know it's coming from behind, go in front, I can feel it, and then into the belly, but I never think about bringing that to the heart, at the end. And it's a practice that I do love. So thank you so much for that. And basically the Kundalini energy that you mentioned is our, I would say, sexual force, right? Like life force, creation force. So I feel this is so important right now that many people are becoming aware of that, in order to use that creative force in a really positive and tangible way for our own awakening first, and then to serve. Because as you mentioned about the element of water, it brings creativity. So it's beautiful, this how we can like work with this power from within and just start to create something beautiful. And I do love that. And I would like to share also my experience about my first Kundalini awakening, because I've been going through a lot when I was a child. And in the same way as you mentioned that when you were a child, it was coming, when you were going to sleep, laying down, and then it was happening. And for me, I used to have that so much when I was a child. And I was so afraid of this manifestation, because I didn't know what it was. And my parents were not able to tell me what it was also. So basically it was manifesting when I was going to sleep, to relax. And then suddenly I was feeling this burst of energy sensitivity coming from inside and just becoming on fire, to the point that I had to separate my fingers, to don't touch my arms to my body, because I was feeling like a balloon and so sensitive. And every time that a part of myself was touching the other one, it was really strong sensation. Like and I didn't know how to deal with that. I used to call that acceleration crisis, because I was feeling so much sensitivity, so much hypersensitivity at this moment, that every single movement that I was doing, even really slow like this, was feeling like I was like like a ninja in the air. So I had this kind of extreme sensation of yeah, slowness and rapidity. And at the same time, the sound was also really strong. I remember when I was going to see my parents, I was afraid with this state of awareness. And I was going to see them to say, it's happening again. And they didn't know how to tell me anything. They were like, what's going on? I don't understand. And the more they were asking questions, the more I was saying them to shut up, because their voice was too loud for me. And it was like a scream, even if they were whispering. So I used to deal with that as much as I can as a child, just holding that energy, going to the bathroom, putting water on my face, and hoping that it will stop, you know. And at some point, it stops. That's true. But I used to be like completely passive to it, let's say, and not understanding how to channel that. And it's only recently, in the past few years, that I understood it was a kind of energetic upgrade that I was going through, and that actually it was a Kundalini awakening where my energy was just bursting suddenly. So now when it's happening to me, and it happened 2 to 3 weeks ago, I remember I was meditating, and now I know when it's happening. It's like, oh, okay, I'm there. And I'm just meditating into it. I'm holding that space and really like letting it flow through my body until it's finishing by itself, because I have nothing to do except just breathing into it, into that moment. Even my breathing is so intense when it's happening. I'm like breathing so slow, but it's so deep and so present that it's almost overwhelming. So I really have to be present to honor that space, and just stay into that state of awakening, let's say. And it's really strong. I still like, I would say, don't know with my mind what to do with that. I experience that physically, but my mind is like, just what is that, you know, and how to take it the most out of it. So what I'm interested about to know, maybe you can share, it's like yeah, how to transform that experience into something that can be, first of all, really conscious. And when it's happening, because I'm sure we are not the only one to live that kind of experience, but when it's happening, how to channel that in a very conscious way. And maybe it's a moment to make some conscious manifestation or conscious visualization. But is there any tool that you have to use in this moment where there is this Kundalini awakening happening, and it's like, what I'm doing with all this energy, you know, how I channel that differently? So you shared before the beautiful tool to prepare, I would say, but is that the same that we can use during?
So when the awakening is happening, when you're experiencing bursts of energy, as you already mentioned, the most important thing is to really become conscious with the breath and to start breathing from the Muladhara, the root chakra, going to the second, the third, the fourth, like all the way to the crown. And really visualize there's like an opening at the top of your head, and that the energy goes out of your head and just connecting with light, connect with cosmic central sun, and really feel the purity of the light, so that you're connecting your individual energy that wants to be shaken, that wants to move, that wants to create, connected with the infinite creative source, because there it will feel it can rest. It's like Kundalini has two states. One is the static and one is dynamic. So static is what everybody has. It's always there. It's always present, and it's resting at the base of the spine. But when it's dynamic, it wants to, create and wants to do, and it becomes wild sometimes. And so it's important to really breathe deeply, consciously, and send it upwards. Really visualize the force of Kundalini. You can visualize a light going up from the Muladhara all the way up to the crown. And you can focus on the third eye point as well, because this centers the mind, so that your mind doesn't start to follow all this wild Shakti chaos. So, and then you go from the third eye back up to the crown. And there you just breathe through your crown. And it's like you inhale at a certain point and you suspend the breath. You hold the air in and then you contract the mula banda. And you just hold it as long as you can. Then at a certain point, the Kundalini will rise and it can like kind of rest at the crown of your head. Then it can meet Shiva. Shakti meets Shiva, and then she can rest again. And then slowly you relax. You relax the muscles, you exhale. And then you go back down from chakra to chakra all the way to the bottom. And this you can repeat again. So inhaling from back of the spine all the way from the chakras, holding, contracting mula bandha, connecting with this infinite light. Close your eyes, focus on the third eye point, and just, feel how you are a channel. Feel how there is always prana flowing. So also when you inhale, it's not that you are holding the breath and trying to retain and forcefully hold it into your lungs. It's more like you inhale and you suspend the breath. So it's like you can always inhale a little bit more. And then you know that the channel stays open. And then there's like a flow of energy between your personal Shakti, Kundalini, and the universal prana. And then you can really start to get a balance in the polarization.
Wow.
And then exhaling, slowly relax. Yeah. And if you really want to go deep to it, when you're ready for the real cosmic experience, you'll have to contract the 3 bandhas. So the root lock, mula bandha. And then you exhale completely. And then you bring in the navel point, bring it all the way to the spine, and bring it upwards. So this is the diaphragm lock. Then you bring this energy to the heart center. And the third is a neck lock. You always keep this so that the energy can flow from the spine up to the head to the third eye point. Because if your head is like this, the energy stays stuck at the throat. So keep your chin slightly tucked in. And then you can really kind of merge completely with this universal consciousness. And this is a really special experience because you'll feel so much energy running. It's like a high voltage heat, but there's like an extreme serenity that comes along with it. You know, it's like you just gather all the energy that's present within you. You breathe it all in and then you exhale all the way so that all the energy centers in your body and you send it up through the crown, connecting with universal source. And then you kind of just surrender your life force back to source. That's basically what you're doing. So you're uniting yourself with source. And then you're like in full samadhi. Then you're like in liberation. And you don't feel this sensation that the senses are overwhelming you, or that's, you know, really all the worries just disappear. And you find this deep peace, and then you can actually experience sensations that are not physical, but they are very, very astral. And this is kind of a death experience already. This is dying while being alive. And when you have this, you come back when you just want to come back, you know, and you're back in this world and you notice like, wow, I can really just make a game out of this life, because I know how to go back to source whenever I like. So, this life is really just to experience what source created. And yeah, you can go back always whenever you need some rest, peace. And it's really charging. It's giving you so much energy and so much like divine wisdom, so much insights. It's incredible. So yeah. So really, really nice to know. Yeah.
Wow. I love all what you shared, like really, really, really deep. I love that. And it helps me so much. I cannot wait to have a new experience coming to me. So I may practice even more to be able to induce it, because so far it happened to me and I never induce it so much. So it might be a call for me, all this exchange, to start again to practice that more consciously. And definitely when it's gonna come, I'm gonna have all those insights that you gave about the locks and the energy and flowing, and to try to make something out of it. It reminds me also two stuff, which is when you talk about connection with the source. The first one is that I used to do a lot of holotropic breathing, like rebirthing experiences, where the breathing is just awakening the cells and all these memories. And at some point, many times, I get to disappear into the space where I suddenly like lose myself into the universe. And I just realized when I come back that I was not there anymore. I was not present anymore. And I was completely with the source in a way. And I used to call that, yeah, cosmic experiences or astral projection or whatever. But the fact is, I had no memories of that. It was just so nowhere and everywhere at the same time. So, but I love to come back, and then to come back into this reality and just feeling that peace inside, because always when I come back is this sensation of, oh wow, that's so deep, and there is, as you said, so much wisdom that is coming. So yeah, for me, like, if I have had induced one day this Kundalini awakening, it was through rebirthing. And I just realized that now, and how powerful it was every time. And I had an experience where it was one of the most beautiful one that I had, where my Kundalini was awakening into this rebirthing, and I was so hypersensitive. And I remember I was laying down and I had my hands like this, and I had the impression that there were tiny little hands holding me all the ways, and it was blissful. And I was like, I'm making love with the universe. I plug into and I was like, I'm making love right now. And I just laugh. In this moment, I was just into bliss, into joy, and I was laughing out of pleasure and ecstasis, and it was a really strong experience. So wow, yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited to talk about that. Thank you so much. And there is also another point that I would like to emphasize on. It's the word trust. Trust, there is a Trust, and it also means to rely upon source totally.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I like that.
so when you talk about source and connection and Kundalini, and me, I'm a lot into this field of trust. It makes a lot of sense to, at some point, to surrender to something that is bigger, and wow, and to go back there when it's necessary, and come back here with this memory and this feeling that are so important. I
Yeah,
love
I can relate to that, because it is true that you'll have to allow yourself to trust this energy and trust the process of kind of letting go of your physical attachments. And this is very difficult for some people. This is why some people are just so stuck, so stagnated, is because they are afraid. They're afraid to unite back with source, because they limited themselves to believe that this physical body is who they are. But it's actually this is just it's you are your source, your prana, your energy. You're everywhere. And you've got condensed, you got crystallized in this body, which is amazing. But this is temporary. And you'll have to trust that when you are kind of disconnecting with your body, but in a very conscious and present state still, you are not losing your body. You're just uniting your awareness with the origin from your essence. And yeah, you'll have to trust this. And I know for many people this will be an interesting process, but it's necessary if you want to feel liberated, if you want to feel carefree again, if you want to feel the bliss.
Wow.
Yeah.
And especially in this time where the fear is a kind of virus all around the planet. And I feel that the trust is a kind of antidote, where out of fear, this life energy can be blocked and stuck. And then we just stay into low vibration. And when the trust is coming, it's allowing this flow to come and to have access to a higher state of consciousness. And this is so important.
And this is like the first chakra issues, is fear of losing the material body. But yeah, once you have practiced, working on the root chakra, so the mula banda, this is very good to just contract those muscles and bring awareness to this area. At a certain point, when mula banda, when the root chakra, is balanced, you won't fear death anymore. You won't fear it, because we can only exist because we have a subtle body. And the subtle body is eternal, it's infinite, it never dies. And it is through the subtle body that the physical body can exist. So when you start to consciously focus your awareness at the root existence of your physical body, you will start balancing the subtle part, the subtle chakra energy center of your body. So then, yeah, you'll not fear this virus anymore. You'll not fear the diseases anymore. And that's the gift of practicing awareness around those chakras, around your life force energy, because this really brings a lot of sense of safety. Like, there wasn't a moment during these last months that I felt unsafe, that I felt like, oh no, this virus, I'm going to die. Like, no, I don't fear it at all. And if it would take me, then I trust that it is divinely guided. That it's like kind of a process, a learning phase for me, Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really strong, and it's so accurate. Thank you for that. And yeah, there is something also into this, I would say, exploration of this astral projection, or whatever is connection to the source, is that we can get addicted to it in a way. Imagine that it's so blissful, it's so disconnected from the body, so it's like, oh my gosh, it's so good, I want to stay there. And the risk, if I can say, is to get so much addicted there that then we start to don't like our life onto this earth. And I really love that you mentioned this grounding part, to feel the body. And the more we are grounded, the more we can have access to that, because the gate is also on both ways. And I really would like to emphasize on it that even if we can connect to the source, the experience is on earth, and this energy of the source has to be integrated into this earth. And this is where the work of transformational coach, of spiritual guide, is so important, to help people to ground themselves, to receive first, to trust what they receive, and then to embody that through life, in this dimension. Because if we decide as a soul to come here, it's to do that, it's to incarnate that, it's to embody that light. It's not to come here and say, oh my gosh, I don't feel good actually in the density, I go back to the source. It makes no sense, like human experience is amazing in that way. And Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with what you're saying. Like, we really chose to be here, so we don't have to, fly away from it. And really, the goal is to feel that you are source creating. The goal is to notice how powerful you are
Mm,
and how greatly you can manifest your soul's desires. So it is very great to connect a lot with your soul through these practices so that you can really start understanding what is this energy, what is my desire, what is pure, um, and letting go of what the mind believes, think what it needs and what it wants, and really connecting above the mind. And then it will start integrating back into the mind, and then the mind can kind of serve the divine inspiration from your soul, from source, to, you'll start to create a new framework in your brain that will serve the divine wisdom,
mm,
instead of, you know the main approach that people take is like, okay, on earth, uh, okay, so this pen, oh no, it broke. Okay, so from the matter I will have to start to understand how this works and how it can be fixed again, and you kind of build up from the matter to the brain. But when you're connected with source and this breaks, you just tap into like a divine wisdom, and then automatically you'll start generating an intellectual um, insight that's like instantly aware. Oh yeah, oh, this is the puzzle. Okay, click and done, it's finished. I have this like a lot whenever I, for example, lose something. It's so funny, like, oh no, I lost my phone, or I lost a notebook or whatever. And I try to look for it, and I start to think in my mind like, okay, where was I physically the last time? I don't find it. But when I just take a moment to meditate and, okay, relax, and then I don't think, I just go somewhere
mm.
super random. I had this like 4 days ago. I lost my phone, and I was like, come on, I just had it like half an hour ago, and I didn't leave the house, and I was looking everywhere that I could have been. And then at a certain point I realized, okay, I'm just going to sit on the ground. And then I lift up the carpet, and my phone is underneath the carpet. I'm like, okay, what? That's so random. I never would have thought of it. But it's because I just let go of it, and I just surrendered to the divine
Mm,
wisdom, the consciousness that knows everything, that works through you. So this is really the gift, to
mm,
start living from a place of complete trust, that you know everything. You don't have to figure it out. Just allow it to enter. And
mm,
then, you know, it's a bit scary sometimes to just trust the unknown. But that's part of it. And it's really amazing that you call
uh,
yourself also this trust guy, because that's so important. Um,
that is so
yeah.
important. Thank you for being such a master into that. And I guess like what is also important for me to mention is that you say go beyond the mind and go like to tap into divine source. That's amazing when you are already a clear channel, so it's easy. But for example, what I'm proposing, it's into my work in shamanic journeys, it's to really reprogram those subconscious beliefs, integrate the earth's experience, and rewire all of that in order to then create a safe container in order to receive this divine light and this divine wisdom from the soul. Because if there is so much conditionings and patterns in the mind, it will create a veil between this earthy dimension and the divine source.
Mhm.
So I'm always like really aware of that. and allowing people to melt that veil by integrating that to their earthy experience. And I'm really like present with it, to always unite the earth with the sky and to come back into the heart, you know. And this is where the soul is also whispering a lot, into this heart feeling, into this like present sensation. And it's so yeah, it's so important.
Yeah, I for me the heart is the gateway to heaven. So in order for you to really to deal with all these conditioning in the mind, with all those traumas, with all those limiting beliefs, you have to center in the heart and
Hmm.
and open the heart for compassion and forgiveness for all that has been, all that you've been through, all that will be, all what others did to you, and really allow your heart to just feel energy, feel the flow, because only then, like you say, you can become a pure channel.
Hmm.
If the heart is not open, you can try to arouse Kundalini energy, you can start to feel the heat, but if you don't open the heart, it will just stay in the Manipura, and you'll have great manifesting powers, you know, you'll have like lots of energy, but you won't have a peaceful state of mind. and
Hmm.
and the danger in this could be that you will start using all this creative life force energy, but you will start using like the programming of the mind to direct it, which is
Hmm.
not in alignment with your true pure soul's intention.
Hmm.
So it is indeed very important to first clear the mind and to tap into those subconscious belief systems and to rewire your brain. And this is also what I teach people when, like, I'm actually organizing in January a 5 month spiritual coaching trajectory with Kundalini Awakening. It's the Kundalini Awakening program. And in the first phase, it's all about, you know, going back to your habits, okay, and your bad habits, and clearing them and cleansing the body. And we really start to first make sure that the body is prepared before awakening Kundalini, before tapping into those higher states of consciousness, because when your mind is not prepared and you get access to all of this, which can happen, but afterwards your mind will not understand it, and it can even believe that all this divinity will come from the mind, and then
Hmm.
you get what you call a spiritual ego, like I am, you know, amazing and great and I can do all these things, but actually you, like, it's not you, it's, well, it is you, but it's not what you think you are. It's a bit complicated to explain like this, but um, yeah, I think it's really good to first make sure that your mind is ready for all of this, because this is not for
Hmm.
everybody to just start with. If you have some deep um, mind attachments, ego attachments, then starting to work with Kundalini can be very overwhelming.
Hmm.
Yeah, it can be a help, can be a big tool, but you'll have to first prepare yourself. This pranayama, for instance, is a very good cleansing practice. You have many meditations with mantras. I love mantras. This is the fun part of Kundalini yoga. Mantras, because mantras are really great tool to also start reprogramming the brain and cleansing subconscious patterns and
Hmm.
connecting to other parts of the brain and activating them to acquire more consciousness and kind of replace those old statements.
That's amazing. You mentioned
Yeah.
that because today my neighbors are doing a kirtan circle where
Oh,
we're gonna sing mantras. So I think I want to go there because I'm going through a lot at the moment, emotionally awakening, and I never felt my heart so deep actually. And it's really interesting all the emotion that I'm allowing myself to feel right now. And I realize how fast it is when I'm feeling overwhelmed by emotions. I'm like, oh, sticky, I don't know what to do. And then suddenly there is a kind of wave coming, and I just like start to sob and to cry and just like feel that pain of the heart. And then I release, then I feel a bit lighter. And yeah, I guess this opening of the heart, as you said, we can do a lot of awakening Kundalini work, but if the heart is not vulnerable, I would say, enough, or if the people are not courageous enough to feel this sensitivity and this vulnerability, there is no, I guess, real integration and embodiment of it. So for me, it's really an important part to feel that heart and that love from within. And it goes with pain, and it goes with emotions, and it goes with like sticky experiences. But then thanks to that, it's like experiencing one extreme. Okay, it's nice, but there is the other extreme that, like in the last months, I experienced so much like deep pain as ever I felt in my heart. And somehow I experienced also a high bliss on the other side, high state of alignment and high state of, oh my gosh, this is it, I'm living in heaven. So I'm a kind of
Wow.
explorer of consciousness, and it goes with this kind of stretching, this ability to feel the extremes.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really interesting. What I experience is also the more that I practice, the more that you know, unite my life force with consciousness and really be in these supreme states of bliss, the more that I can also feel emotions. And
Mm,
sometimes this is like, yeah, you just have to allow it to be. And there are super random moments that I just start to, laugh or cry or scream, but like just short periods. And then it's like, okay, it's gone again. It's just like this strange wave that happens across me. And sometimes I don't even know where it comes from. And then I kind of just see, okay, what's happening on a more collective level. And then I realize, okay, there's like, okay, elections going on, or like 5 planets in retrograde. And then, I just feeling on a collective level already energies from other people. And I kind of just transmute it through me. And then, this is like, um, also kind of a work of light workers. So people who actually are committing their life to be in service of, just healing the planet, healing the population. It's what we do. Uh, when at a certain point, when you have reached this state of pureness in yourself and liberation from your own attachments, you start to work with the energies around you. You start to, you're always alchemizing. Either it's your own energy or it's the energy from around you. Just by breathing, you're already taking in all that is and exhaling all the love from the source. Uh, yeah, this is very intense, and you got to be ready for it. Not everybody wants to do this, but that means that there's still attachments in yourselves that have to be
mhm.
resolved. Um,
Wow. Yeah, I love that. Definitely, I can resonate with this co-creation so much.
yeah.
Like individually, collectively, this kind of multi-dimensional experience. This is really strong. I
Mhm.
do experience that a lot, and a lot of magic in my life where it's just like, for example, yesterday I was driving with my car, and I'm in a place where there's just like roads and mountains, and there's not so much house on this path. And my car just collapsed at some point. I couldn't go forward anymore, and it just collapsed in front of a house where there were a guy who was just like saying, "Hey, what's up? I can drive you somewhere." Just like we didn't even worry about what to do with that car. he has just a parking place like 5 meters below. I just put my car there, and then he took his car and just drove us somewhere. And it was just so divinely aligned. I didn't even worry at this moment that my car is broken, because everything was just designed for me to flow somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's so special. And I would like to, it's been already 1 hour that we are talking. I love to talk about those topics. This is really amazing. And I would like just to in a way, talk a bit about trust a bit more, because I am currently like guiding a group of women into this trust team and activation. And I'm also preparing the next group that will be in December. So if ever there is any body that is watching this live that is interested about this topic, I would love to share more, to have a call with you, and to see what's going on. And I can share also some informations if you wish to know more. And yeah, I'm really happy to serve in that way. This is such a beautiful light work, as you said. And trust is really necessary right now in many, many levels of our collective consciousness and individual one too. So I also want to thank you for this your time, and that you took to share all this wisdom and all this knowledge. And I'm sure you're gonna serve even more people, because it's something that is necessary. And I feel like you already have a lot of mastery into it, and you're definitely ready to go forward with it and to guide people that are willing to learn, as simple as that. And it can serve much more than just to practice. It's connecting to source and being a servant of source and grounding that light on earth. It's so important right now, and I honor what you do, and I'm supporting you into that so much. Thank you so much for doing this work.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also for your work, helping people to trust themselves again. And yeah, I'm so grateful for this connection, for everybody watching this and watching the replay. And if this resonates, please contact us. We are so honored and grateful and happy to help you with your ascension process and with your discovery towards your true nature. So yeah, I hope
Oh,
to have another interesting meeting soon.
I would love to. We can definitely make that happen, like once a month. Why not? I would love that.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So much to
That's great.
say. Hmm. Okay. So
Definitely.
yeah, you enjoy your kirtan, the mantras. Wow.
Yes.
That's, by the way, like my main tool to keep me in this state of connection is I just put mantra music on all day,
Mm.
and then it really enters in your subconscious mind, and then you're always kind of united with love. That's really cute, really
Oh,
great tool. Yeah.
that's perfect transition, because my lovely partner right now, Orin, has prepared a meal for me. We're gonna eat lunch, and I'm gonna put some mantras and just, oh my gosh,
Mm.
just integrate all of that. And
Yeah.
today it's also 2 years that we are together, so it's a beautiful, special day. And,
Wow. Yeah.
so thank you for this moment, reminder of the love of the mantra that can reprogram the mind and use those precious tools that are so available. That's amazing. Um,
Yeah. Om Shanti Shanti.
mm, Thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful evening, and definitely we talk more and manifest much more co-creation and magic like this. I love that.
Yeah, great. Have a blissful day as well, and
Mm,
see you next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.